Real Enigmas and Theories is back again with another video. From Season 3 is coming to an end, and at the time of me recording this, we are waiting on Episode 10, the finale. Even though I felt like Episode 9 was the slowest installment of the entire series, I have to say that the esoteric elements of this episode are absolutely brilliant and continue to deliver connections that span all the way back to Season 1. So let's pull out those magnifying glasses and go over Episode 9. But before we do that, go ahead and tap that screen a few times by liking, sharing, and if you haven't already, subscribe and get ready to hop in the comments and open up the discussion in full effect. Let's cook. So the ritual energy is really thick nearing the end of Season 3. Earlier in the season, I revealed the deviled egg situation with Tien Chen, where she literally had her skin peeled, inside scooped out, redressed by Christy and Jade, and placed on an actual deviled egg plate. I revealed the ritual of the widow's son and the grounding libation ritual with the Matthews. I also revealed the ritual sacrifice of Nikki and the altar items like the drums, the burnt offering in the ashtray, the books, the libation, the glass bowl, and the candles, specifically yellow candles. They're everywhere on the show, especially in this season. Even when Donna has her recollection of Fatima's anniversary party, which is also a ritual. Yellow candles in witchcraft are thought to increase the spiritual connection to higher powers. The song Who by Fire, which is featured on the show, is inspired by the Unatana Tokef, a religious poem recited on high holy days. Kenny, when he was sitting by the fire in the cabins, speaks about the high holy days. This Hebraic reference reminds me of the Yellow Candle program created to honor the Holocaust. The yellow color symbolizes the yellow stars that Jews were forced to wear. Also, seeing Fatima with that handkerchief that Ellis gave her reminds me of yet another Shakespeare reference. In the play, Othello gives a handkerchief to Desdemona. The handkerchief was embroidered with strawberries using threads that were dyed with the blood of virgins, and it was gifted by an Egyptian witch to Othello's mother. Also, her sitting by this wicker chair makes me once again think about the native indigenous references with woven items. These references are woven through the entire show as well. I revealed the information about the grandmother spider deity in her woven items before Elgin spoke about crocheting owls with his grandmother. And seeing all of these woven baskets aroused the thought of indigenous basket weaving, seen throughout the show as well. We seen baskets of rotten vegetables and cabbages when Donna and them were checking on the blight, but particularly when Victor is throwing out the baskets to get the axe or tomahawk. Moreover, Victor's intentions with the tomahawk to chop down the tree esoterically evoke the symbolism of tomahawk rights, a practice used to establish priority of ownership with early European settlers of the Appalachians. These rituals, rights are also known as cabin rights. A settler would mark the tree with their initials, name, or a symbol right into the bark, and they would do this with multiple trees to designate ownership over certain parts of land. Notice that Victor just left a mark on the tree. Now, I've talked about hand signs, poses, gestures, and the symbolism behind them, and the posture of the boy in white stood out to me. Also, his movements remind me of the about-face drill command in which a soldier makes a 180-degree turnaround, very much like the changes we see in the characters. And shout out to PM because she pointed out something real dope about the conversation that ties right into this between the Victor and the boy in white. Victor noticed that the boy in white was changing, and the boy in white noticed that Victor was changing.
You look different now.
So do you.
All those years you look the same. Why are you changing now?
Everything's changing now.
And speaking of gestures, I pointed out Jim kneeling and him being the widow's son in this scene right here. Check this out. In the season 2 finale, Ethan asked Jim that if they died, would they get to see Thomas and Jim's father again, indicating several things. First, it indicates that Ethan has seen Jim's father before. Also, that Jim's mother must still be alive. Either that or Ethan doesn't want to see her again, but I think it's the former. This would make her a widow, and Jim would be the widow's son. Here we see Jim kneeling, and to me, this is very reminiscent of the brethren kneeling at prayer for the widow's son. The widow's son's name is Hiram Abiff, the master builder of King Solomon's temple. Jim is the architect of the radio tower. And that caused me to reveal Jim's Masonic gesture in this episode with this pose we see here. Notice how Jim is covering his eyes as he walks into the stage or room. This is the same symbolism that I revealed with Julie in this scene with Fatima and Ellis. Let me take you back to season 1, episode 4 real quick. Another ritual was played right before our eyes, complete with the circus and Masonic symbolism. Julie is sort of blindfolded by Fatima with her hands while she's brought to Ellis and Fatima's bedroom. Ellis stands in front of the draped entrance and gestures just the same way Victor did. Check this out. Ellis even makes this gesture after creating a circus-like atmosphere in his presentation like a ringmaster. Then he sits down and does this. In Masonic rituals, the candidate is often blindfolded during the ritual. Jim's cross-leg pose evokes the symbolism of the cross-leg effigies of the Knights Templar who took part in the religious wars sanctioned by the church called the Crusades. Now, Jim being the widow's son and the Freemason connection, along with this Templar revelation, makes this overlapping undeniable. Even Fatima drinking the blood of Elgin is reminiscent of the Eucharist, or the blood-drinking, flesh-eating ritual called communion, which is also represented in the book of Matthew during the Passover meal. And the Passover is yet another Hebraic nuance. So the level of esoteric symbolism in episode 9 is definitely top tier. The Mr. Fish and Loaves symbolism with the Vesica Pisces, the grandmother spider deity of the Indigenous school of thought, and even notes of Norse mythology. They drop that and more all in one episode. So me being that esoteric dude with the magnifying glass out, I gotta give them their credit. Lately in this season, we've been seeing much more of the well that Boyd was stuck in, and also those ruins. We've seen a lot more of the faraway and bottle trees. Yggdrasil, the great ash tree in Norse mythology, is central to Norse cosmology, and it connects to the 9 worlds. The tree is also associated with 3 wells. And one of those wells, the Well of Erd, is located directly beneath one of Yggdrasil's roots. I thought it was real dope how we could actually see the roots growing in the root cellar. Very similar to what we see in the tunnels with jade. Yggdrasil is the tree that Odin used to facilitate his spiritual journey, much like a horse would carry its rider. So basically Odin's faraway tree. Yeg is one of the many names of Odin, and Dressel is the Old Norse word for horse. And there are so many mentions of horses in From. Megan's Wonder Riding Pony, Tilly was on her way to bet on the ponies, the horses on Ethan's PJs, Boyd's If I Had a Boat song, and even Boyd when he says that wild ponies wouldn't keep him from the wedding. The term Odin's horse being the tree where Odin actually hung himself to gain cosmic knowledge makes me think of Jade drawing the bottle trees. Think about this for a minute, y'all. Jade is the one who saw the Confederate soldiers hanging in the tree. They were using this tree so that they could find a radio signal. Now, when you look at this depiction, I know that these are supposed to be bottles, but my magnifying glass sees a bunch of nooses hanging from a tree, which would be fitting, being that Jade was who saw a bunch of dudes hanging. Trees are often seen as the axis mundi, or the world tree, symbolizing the connection between the heavens, the earth, and the underworld. And adding nooses to the tree gives this concept a strong death motif. This tree in Jade's vision told us all the way back in season 1 that something of great turmoil had to have happened there. Some sort of judgment day, or even a ritual sacrifice. Maybe some sort of retribution for something. And I mean, we are talking about the Civil War here. Maybe even the appeasement of a divine or a supernatural force. The fact that we see multiple nooses suggests that this was a communal ritual, and it's possibly tied to some sort of ancestral memory or collective karma. And the Civil War is definitely connected to karmic energy, to say the least, right? This tree for sure is located at a cursed or a sacred site that's tied to the souls executed in that tree, and also the Negro regiment soldier who chased Jade. Jade depicting a tree with hanging bottles that ends up looking like nooses is a strong suggestion that he is somehow connected to some sort of communal sacrifice. Seeing these connections and also thinking about Odin and Yggdrasil reminds me of the word egg, and how the word is a Proto-Germanic word that actually derives from Old Norse. In many cultures, the egg and the tree both symbolize life. And being that we see that Fatima is pregnant, but not in the traditional sense, makes me wonder what type of life she is about to bring into this world. I've said this before in previous predictions, that I believe that the baby that Fatima is carrying will be some sort of conduit to bring another entity into the world. So that's the esoteric breakdown for episode 9. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you're not subscribed, I hope that this is the video to make you do it. So go ahead, hit that like button, hit that share button, let everybody know that you're rocking with the real enigmas and theories, and get ready to drop down in the comments so that we can get the conversation started. Anyway, just a little something to think about while we wait on the next episode. That's all for my video today. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.